Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan.
Welcome back to the show.
You homer!
Shall we begin?
Fire away.
Thank you, Wabasha.
You're breaking up, Bob.
The season can't end like that!
Hashtag Faith Radio.
Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Good morning.
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN.
Hey, have a seat for a second.
Hold on to your butts.
I love it, baby. Woo! Oh, my God! Just another beautiful Monday in the neighborhood being FM 100.3. It is KFAN. Right. It is the Love Covenant. It is 9 to noon. And we are predicting a fun show for you today.
As good as you are on that show and everything, every time you make those type of predictions, I run right to the bank and go the other way.
Well, you better recognize.
Get in here! I got one thing to say. This is when the big dogs come out. Damn right. The big dogs stay on the board.
Big week in the neighborhood, or so says the host of 9 to noon. Yours truly, Paul Allen. Producer Eric Nordquist by my side. You see, 9 to noon is off to Indianapolis today for some Combine Radio tomorrow and Wednesday. We got Bursich driving in from Chicago, Gabe, Tatum, and the Vikings Entertainment Network all over the place with their cameras and their microphones. Tomorrow begins a steam-seeking quest to find football heaven with that number 11.
Welcome back to the show.
Got that 11th pick, Combine Radio tomorrow. But meanwhile, along the way to the unique week, Sky Yuma came up Sky you blah. And Hawkins coast to coast giving off to Ola Joseph. Missed the shot. Put back. What a right-handed putback. One hand by Fox. Minnesota scored 4 straight. Cut it to 8. 26-18. Got blown out by Hoiberg's Nebraska Cornhuskers. And, all right, I'll save this for a second time in less than a week involving a certain basketball team. All right, I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot for having zero idea Hoiberg's gang played defense like the 85 Bears. I mean, seriously, we got killed off that cool Ohio State victory, blown out by the Husker heavies playing defense as if they were Bruce Bowen in disguise. I mean, we lost another quad one. Net ratings, quads, and deep stretch of the Big Ten season. Last night in Lincoln, our squad was quad one and done. Jerk ass!
We were quad one and done. I mean, seriously, we picked a great time to jump on this bandwagon. Mad producer, and good morning.
Good morning. All over maroon and gold. I'll say this. The Gophers haven't won in Lincoln in many years, PA.
Right.
So yesterday's result, not necessarily surprising from the L factor. They just didn't look like they were in it for most of the contest. So I don't know if is there a curse of that particular gym with that particular coach and that team? I don't know, man. But perfect time. Last week, we got Al Nolan in. We got video segments. We got podcasts.
Yeah.
We're all in on the Gophers. And certainly a lopsided defeat down at Nebraska.
And next time we face a team we haven't watched play basketball in quite some time, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. God bless Freddie Hoiberg, one of the good guys in the sports industry. Next time, can somebody alert 9 to noon? The Huskers have this big beef eater with the long hair flopping around who's basically unstoppable.
Hell.
Are you kidding me with that team and that defense? Good Lord. Quad one and done. That's okay. On we go. Because 9 to noon is unfurling
a little coach's covenant today. And with that coach's covenant, about 30 minutes from now, the first in the coach's covenant to join 9 to noon is the boss of these guys.
Zuccarello cutting around behind the net of Grubauer. He'll throw it up top. Mermis has a lane. Took a shot. He scores! Dakota Mermis with traffic in front. Let one fly. And the Wild have 5 unanswered in Seattle. And they've got a 5-1 lead.
John Hynes, coach of the Wild, 30 minutes from now. Hynes to noon with the head coach of the Minnesota Wild at about 9:35. And the Wild is worthy of covenant claps, and here's why. Now, 9 to noon does not unfurl covenant claps unless it's a unique situation or somebody's on an unbelievable heater or houses the championship or something like that. But Hynes' group, in the estimation of yours truly, is covenant claps worthy because you hang 10 on Vancouver. The Winnipeg game was flat ugly. I mean, that was a bad game, man, and we just got done. So then what do? You continue on the road. You hold McDavid and Draisaitl's group with Nugent Hopkins to 2, and you beat the Oil, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. And then you follow it up the next game and the next night, unfurling 5 consecutive and thrashing Softy and Seattle's team, the Seattle Kraken. The response off the L and the W known as Winnipeg, very, very nice. And covenant claps worthy from the 9 to noon team. Excited for your game against the Carolina Hurricanes. That'll take place tomorrow evening. The Wild is suddenly surging after that Winnipeg debacle. And what a weekend. Seriously, McDavid, Draisaitl, couldn't match strides. Wild win 4-2. Then they smacked the Kraken. Now, the problem with that one, in the Kraken smacking, was some rube shoved Eriksson Ek into the boards, and he had to leave the game. There's definitely no rube cred delivered for the unneeded push that damaged quality stock. Quality stock as in maybe our best overall player, but one of the hottest players in the NHL in Joel Eriksson Ek. And my man just pushed him into the boards with like 7 minutes to go in the game, and Eriksson Ek had to leave. No rube cred for the tool for the Kraken. The Kraken smacking pushed our guy into the boards. And I guess his inclusion tomorrow evening is in question. We'll pose that for Coach Hynes, see what he says. Boldy scores like every game. 22 of his goals have come in the 39 coached by Hynes, who joins 9 to noon around 9:35. What are you thinking about those Wild over there, mad producer?
I'm not blown away, but couldn't be happier with how the week ended, PA. Because into the week, into that game on President's Day against Vancouver, kind of the idea, hey, get through this next week. If you can get 4 points, it sounds defeatist, but that's a positive thing. Because when you do come home, you mentioned Carolina tomorrow night, but then this is where you can weed your way into wild card land with playing Nashville, playing St. Louis. You got the L's with San Jose and Arizona in the mix. You got Arizona at least, I think, at least twice. So you have all of that, and then the Ducks are in the mix again too. Get through this week, and you're staying close. You're staying in the fight. Things are at your advantage. For you to get 6 of 8 points, and as cool as Monday was, as bitter a taste as that next one in Winnipeg felt on Wednesday morning. For you to go back to back and it's Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins, oh my, and you do what you did there. And Gus Bus, by the way, part of the conversation has been the goaltending. And what you saw over a 2-game stretch, the team scored 13. They also allowed 13. What's up with Gus Bus? Well, he was terrific Friday night. And I think 20-plus saves in the third period alone. And so you get those types of things, and you put that beat down. And if you can't beat somebody, you try to injure them. I guess that's what happened in Seattle with Joel Eriksson Ek. But it sounds like hopefully he's going to be okay in the long term. Maybe he needs a night off. We'll see. But very positive on the Wild.
Gus Bus, the goalie Gustafsson, he when the Wild beat Carolina about a month ago, he had 40 saves in that game. Now, they have some days off into the game tomorrow night, so Coach Hynes, who gets the net? Hey! midway.
Got to ask him, right?
9:35 on Hynes to noon. Coach's Covenant, though. Chris Finch, Coach Finch, the boss of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He joins the Covenant around 10:30 to chat about these guys.
Off to Cat, right back to Kyle, who wasn't ready for that pass. They get it to Jaden in the corner, catch and shoot three, bingo. And Wolves might have their separation here. They lead by 9 with 4:48 left.
Finchy seems frustrated by the offense right now, so let's hear all about that at 10:30. They are 1-1 through this 7-game staycation with Wemby on the horizon. Wemby is here tomorrow night. This freakishly stupendous Spur has 24 blocks in his last 4 games. Pity the fools running into Wemby in fantasy basketball on a weekly basis.
Oh my gosh.
Wemby, though, 24 blocks the last 4 games. Now, the Spurs are diseased. They've lost 10 of their last 11, but they did beat us a month ago, which was a very, very super special occasion. That wasn't very cool. Yours truly attended the game on Friday. Bucks fans here Friday night, man. They just had to be loving that third quarter. Bunch of in-your-face Minneapolis stuff being unfurled. Got all loud and everything with Giannis stealing the show, Dame Lillard by his side. I mean, they just killed us that quarter. Ant was throwing it all over the gym. McDaniels couldn't hit a shot, and the whole thing went pear-shaped in a hurry. Chris Finch, hour and 20 minutes from Vikes Bites are next. Combine time tomorrow. Some of the guests tomorrow from the Indianapolis Scouting Combine include Adam Schefter and Jordan Reed with ESPN. And Kevin O'Connell will join at 11 o'clock Central tomorrow. Plus, we will put many more things together once yours truly lands in Indianapolis later this afternoon. The Combine Covenant is in the air 24 hours from now. It's like McCarthy and Mayhem, Kwesi and the Winds of Change, and St. Elmo's and Speculation. Can't wait. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Vikes Bites are next. We thank TimberTech and TimberTech.com for the What's on Deck, 9 to noon. Hynes at 9:35. Finchy about 10:30. Blake Barrett's the president and founder of Institute for Athletes. He'll be in studio at 10 o'clock chatting about the Combine and the NFL and stuff like that. And once again, Vikes Bites are around the corner. Good morning. It's Paul Allen, and it's 9 to noon.
MidwestFence.com.
The Fan. Vikes Bites.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Vikes Bites. Each and every day, 9 to noon is brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. And it's a local company, Clearwater, Minnesota's finest. They've since grown from there via expertise in regenerative agriculture. What does that mean? Well, go to lifetimegrazed.com, please, because they're better at explaining it than I am. But in the end, when you're at the website, you'll get to see what that finished product is. Delicious beef, and you can shop right there on the website. To Vikes Bites, you're headed to the Combine, PA. And so I'm looking at, what are prospects that we might want to pay attention to as Vikings fans. And the quarterbacks are going to be throwing later this weekend, and I got a couple of news nuggets on that as well. But I saw Bucky Brooks, NFL.com. He picked out various prospects at the different positions who will be making names for themselves at Indy. Now, you're doing a couple of shows. You're going to be steamrolling with the Schefter types over the next 48 hours. So maybe these are names that might pop into your head. J.J. McCarthy, certainly a talker for this team at quarterback. That Toledo corner that Alec Lewis mentioned from the Senior Bowl, Quinyon Mitchell, he was on Bucky Brooks's watch list of sorts. But what about the next Daniil Hunter?
48 on the ground. 100 through the air. The ball's loose. Rolling around back at the 42-yard line of Rutgers. Chuck Robinson looked like he forced it, and he's the one who's on top of it.
Highlight courtesy of Fox Sports. Now, imagine calling a sack, and the guy's name is Chop Robinson.
Yes.
Edge rusher, Penn State. He's a Nittany Lion, PA. He's 6'3", he's 255 pounds, so he's a little shorter than Daniil, but he's cut out of stone, much like Daniil. This is what Bucky says. The best pass rushers in the NFL routinely display elite first-step quickness and closing bursts. Robinson, who's ranked 4th among his edge defenders, grades out as an A-plus athlete. Cat-like quickness, explosive finishes, jumping off the tape. Though Robinson's supreme athleticism did not translate into elite production. As a collegiate player, he totaled 10.5 sacks and 17 TFLs in 2 seasons at Penn State, plus 1 at Maryland. The Penn State product is an intriguing developmental prospect due to his explosiveness and nonstop motor. His game is boomer bust feeling, but the junior is one of the best athletes at this position, could enhance his value in meeting rooms, his upside and potential could tempt a coach to take a chance on him. Why did I say?
Wow.
The next Daniil Hunter, PA? Because who was a elite athlete in college that did not prove it via statistical equity at Louisiana State University, but was one of the biggest freaks coming out of college athletically, who developed into one of the best quarterback sacking specimens in the NFL thus far in his career? It's Daniil Hunter. Could Chop Robinson be the next Daniil Hunter? Somebody to maybe, bandy about, ask about when you're in Indianapolis.
I love that. I love it because of the carrying of the comparison back to Louisiana State University, where I think Daniil Hunter might have had a sack and a half over 3 years, maybe 3.5, something like that. It was not a fat number, but that is truly one of the real underrated keys of the Indianapolis Scouting Combine that you just hit on, is the calculated dice roll that you can find something that is untapped and have it unfurl with your coaching, the way you run things, your culture, and just having better players around them. It absolutely transpired with Daniil Hunter. And offensively speaking, that, the at this stage of the equation, that's the same formula that I hear repeatedly about Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. So it's finding stock that is untapped and not super overused and beaten down like some of these Alabama players that come into the league, and raising it and then watching it roll with you. That's fascinating. That's a nice nugget on that defensive player.
Vikes Bites! How about this? Let me ask you this. You're going to be in Indianapolis the next 2 days.
Peter King is retiring. Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he...
Immediately, or did he put a deadline on it?
Right now, it's Football Morning in America, ProFootballTalk.com. 4 reasons. It's time. Is that all there is? One other thing that's hard to understand if you're not me and my family. Very, very well written by Peter King, as expected. But that's football immortality right there. Calling it quits. Okay.
Hell of a career. There's no doubt about it. And speaking of the Combine, he's been a guy that we've tracked down and has sat down with you in charge on at least a few occasions down in Indianapolis. And whether it's the Peter King type, maybe it's radio guy from XYZ Flagship. One thing I'm hoping that by the end of this Combine, and certainly around the time of free agency as the steamrolling unveils certain things, who do the Vikings have to worry about outside the top 3 to get a quarterback?
Denver.
And I think that might be the big answer here, because after the top 3, Arizona probably not, Chargers no, Giants with that contract to Daniel Jones out of the mix. Tennessee, are they going to go big in again with the Will Levis / Malik Willis thing? I would doubt it. Atlanta's a potential option. Then you got the Bears again, and then the Jets. I don't think that they're going to go QB at 10. But it looks like after the Vikings selected 11, I got George Payton and Sean Payton who want to move up ahead of the Vikings. Vegas maybe, probably not, even though they have a quarterback quandary of their own. New Orleans into Indy into Seattle into Jacksonville, I wouldn't necessarily look at those teams. But Denver feels like the team that hopscotches, that would be the worry. So now as we continue, J.J. McCarthy's steam and all of this, and you try to put little placeholder bits on these picks via the mock drafting phenomenon, the Denver Broncos scare me as a team that appears either Atlanta's going to be able to stay there and get their guy, or the Broncos are going to move up. Another thing that Kwesi's losing sleep over as he gets closer to the NFL draft.
The metaphorical dominoes will start falling shortly. And thank heavens for that from a talkability standpoint, because as mentioned here repeatedly and for weeks, it's very difficult to postulate, speculate, and or formulate even an outsider's opinion, not knowing what's next with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So that, it's if the Minnesota Vikings let Kirk Cousins hit the free agency market, it's my belief that he'll be gone in lickety-split fashion. So I don't see why he wouldn't. Given the importance of a quarterback, how well he was playing before the Achilles, and teams with needs for quarterbacks like that. So if that happens, well, then a lot could happen before that to ease the pressure of that. It's a very perplexing yet fascinating Minnesota Vikings offseason.
Well, okay, continuing on that, in that vein for a moment, I was talking about it, Saturdays with Sauce, the way that it kind of popped in my head. I feel like if he gets to free agency, totally with you, he's gone. I think it would, don't you think it might take a little bit longer, though? Because now it's, what's the best spot for me? What's the best offensive scheme?
Yeah.
Now, not only is it maybe guaranteed dollars, but now I can actually start to nitpick some of these opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings are and should be favored because I think they get the most grace and leeway in this situation.
Agreed.
But I would almost feel like free agency hits, we have to do the swan song to Kirk. It feels like he could take a couple of weeks before he narrows it down to exactly where he wants to go. Maybe I'm splitting hairs. I don't know.
No, not really, because the only reason I believe that would happen is if the promise part of it, the financial aspect of it, didn't add up or get close initially. Because players mostly, but I'd bet everything I have, Cousins is like this. They come into this with a plan of knowing what Atlanta runs that quarterback would like, what Pittsburgh runs that quarterback would like. And if you look, you were at 11, anti-Vikes right behind us. All right. So if you look in front of us, outside of Herbert and maybe Kyler Murray, the money they're locked up into with Kyler, and he played pretty well for them once he came back. So eliminate those two. It's I'm with you on Tennessee. They're not going to take a quarterback and they'll roll with Will Levis. But if you are to say, no, they need a quarterback in this super rich and deep quarterback draft, and there's somebody right there who's better than Will Levis, I'm probably not going to argue with you. So, even teams like that, who have a quarterback, the Jets waiting for Juicy A-Rod, no guarantee that thing works out, but it probably will. But then what's next for them? That's similar to us. So I don't have the draft order in front of me, but I think the LA Chargers, no, they don't need a quarterback. No need to think about it. Cardinals devotees will say, well, we don't either. And I would be like, all right, but I would at least think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of where you're selecting. Who else in there?
So to go Arizona 4, Chargers 5, Giants 6.
Yeah, just see, now the Giant, that's the one I was missing. Yeah, they need a quarterback. But no, they're not taking a quarterback because pride goes before the fall.
Yeah.
And this time last year, 9 to noon was quite perplexed or wondering. So why are you going to give that guy the big deal and franchise Saquon? Shouldn't it be in reverse? I would fret, it's a passing league. Yeah, your guy can't pass. So, okay, I know it's a passing league. Cool. Oh, yeah, he went to Duke. Okay, cool. He's book smart. That's wonderful. But so that's a tricky spot because they know they need a quarterback and might even want one, but they lock themselves up so much into dimes, they can't take a quarterback there.
No, they can't.
Who's next?
Then it's Tennessee at 7.
Yep.
Atlanta at 8. That's a big
QB spot.
But that's also it's a free agent conversation, which makes it tricky.
Correct.
Chicago again at 9.
Yep.
They could be looking to move that maybe. They'll get Caleb at 1. Jets at 10.
Yep.
And then after us, it's into Denver. We mentioned them. Vegas, they have the rookie. He was awful. He was terrible. Jimmy's been suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
If he hasn't been released, I thought I read a report that they were going to get rid of him.
Yeah, he's out.
And then New Orleans, they just had to nip-tuck some money to keep Derek Carr happy and around. Then it's Indianapolis, probably not.
Nope.
Seattle, they kind of went in on Geno Smith here a little bit. They guaranteed all his cash.
Yep.
Is that a QB spot?
Nope.
But then Jacksonville, certainly not with Trevor Lawrence. So now I'm halfway through the first round.
Yeah, in a roundabout way, we find ourselves competing with the anti-Vike
Always.
Even when he's in the opposite conference.
Our entire lives.
I mean, that is if the Vikings have a quest for a quarterback, a Kwesi quest with that 11.
Yeah.
So getting back to the combine, it's chatting with people and just getting the background information on things. It's
going to be sweet.
It's been, quite honestly, FINA, Fairness and 9 to Noon Honesty Act. It's been quite quiet and slow. When I haven't pushed as hard as I have in the past because I sense some things are hot. I just sense that the temperature's high on some things, and it's not like high because it's about ready to boil over and people are going to die. No, it's because there are massive franchise-changing decisions on the horizon that can change things for the now and for the later. This is going to be a lot of fun. Likewise, for following the Minnesota Wild, coached by John Hynes, courtesy of Pronto Heating and Air. Coach Hynes joins 9 to Noon.
Hey, on the Fan.
Morello cutting around behind the net of Grubauer. He'll throw it up top. Mervis has it. Took a shot. He scores! Dakota Mervis with traffic in front. Let one fly. And the Wild have 5 unanswered in Seattle. And they've got a 5-1 lead.
What an onslaught Saturday after beating McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins the night before, or the previous game. And joining us now, John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild. Thanks to Pronto Heating and Air, prontoheating.com for more information. Good morning, Coach. It's Paul Allen. How are things on this beautiful Monday?
Great. Good morning, Paul.
Right on, brother. Excellent bounce back after that Winnipeg game, man. How's Eriksson Ek, and what did you think when you saw him get banged up by the boards?
He should be good. It wasn't as serious as it looked, thank God. But I was a little concerned for sure, just the way he got hit and then the way he went into the boards. But so far, looks like he should be good to go, thank God.
Hockey's a tough guy game, and he personifies 10 of 10, a tough guy, but not all of them do. With Eriksson Ek, man, he's just a tough guy, isn't he?
Yeah, Eki's been really impressive to me. He's a big, strong guy. He's in unbelievable shape. But the way that he competes night in and night out, shift in and shift out, very consistent. He's physical when he has to be. He's a guy that plays in the hard areas of the ice all the time. He's a player that's really tough to find. A centerman with his size, skating ability, and the way that he can produce offensively, but also play against top players night in and night out has been really impressive to me.
John, did you find it to be an unnecessary shove by Borgen?
Yeah, I thought so.
Me too.
I think when you're, it's the player's responsibility in those situations. It wasn't a situation where it was a high-speed, impactful play where you're reading and reacting. It's just I think that the players have to have the guy that's doing the checking has to have a better decision in that situation.
So with Eriksson Ek, do you think he'll play tomorrow night against the Canes?
We'll see. We traveled yesterday, and guys are getting some treatments and stuff today. So we'll see where he's at for tomorrow.
Right on. John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, victorious against Seattle on Saturday. Before that, Edmonton. And let me ask you this, Coach: how does it impact the other lines when your top line is dominating the way it is with Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, and Boldy? Like how, if in any way, do they all feed off each other when the top line is just on fire?
Yeah, Paul, it really goes in two ways. One, the way that those guys are playing, to your point, they're 3 highly talented players, but they're playing the game. They're willing skaters. They're tenacious on the puck. They're making good puck decisions. When they have opportunities to make plays, they're making them. But when there's no opportunities to make plays, they're managing the puck. They're putting pucks behind the D. They're putting pucks into places where they can recover the puck. And the way that they're playing without the puck, that's what you need from your top players. When your top players play with that conviction and that commitment, that's what really drives the team. Sometimes you can have top players that produce points, but they don't drive a team identity. And these guys are driving a team identity, and that's what you need to truly win regularly in the league, night in and night out.
And very, very well described. And Baldy has 7 goals in his last 8 games and 22 in the 39 that you've coached since you took over for the Minnesota Wild. With Baldy, what professional maturity, John, have you noticed in his game since, I don't know, like the calendar turned a month and change ago?
Yeah, I think it's Matt in particular, and I'll get to him for a minute, but I think it's our team in general. We've talked a lot about not playing the game that you want to play, but playing the game that's required to win, and making the decisions, playing with conviction, having a work-based mentality, night in and night out. That's what's required to win for your team. Now, Matt in particular, he's a highly talented player, as we all know, but he's learning and committing to playing to an identity for him that gives him the best chance to be a driving player for our team and the way we want to play, but also his point production, which we need. His size is a factor every night. He's extremely competitive at the puck, on the puck. His decision-making with the puck when there's opportunities to make plays and not make plays is very good. His shot, we've talked to him a lot about, he's got a great shot. His shot attempts, hitting the net when he's in scoring areas, have a shot-first mentality. And the final thing from Matt is when all those things come together, he's playing fast. He's moving his feet. He's not trying to make plays standing still or play east-west. He's playing north, fast, direct, and all of that's come together for him. And now it's just the messaging now is let's be consistent in that, and let's get to that identity night in and night out. And he's done that as of late, and it's great to see him mature his game. But also it's good to see when a player commits to do those things and is coachable, that he gets rewarded for it, and he's doing that on the score sheet.
Yeah, no doubt. 7 goals the last 8 games, as I just mentioned. And with that Edmonton win, and when you hook high enders like McDavid and Draisaitl, and they had that overtime game against Boston. I think it was 6-5. Racehorse hockey, very entertaining, lots of goals, obviously. And Edmonton up to that loss had been winning just a bunch of games, and you beat them 4-2, and you not only held them to 2, it was just a very impressive game to watch from afar. When you play like McDavid and Draisaitl and beating Edmonton on the road, what are some keys to go in there when with the change situation and everything, and beating them the way you did?
Well, it really comes down to a couple things. As you said, those guys are 2 of the most elite players in the league, and when they are going to generate scoring opportunities because they're that good. No matter how well you can check them and how structured you are, they're going to turn plays. The key is to make it hard on them, not give them easy plays like from turnovers or where you make careless plays with the puck, and now they have opportunities to play versus an unorganized defense. And I thought that our puck management, where we lots of times early in the game, they had to spend time in their own end. They had to defend, so they couldn't get up and get to the game that they want to play, where they're the most dangerous. That was a big factor. And when you're on the road, lots of times it's hard to have a hard match as the visiting coach because their coach has the last change. Right. So you really need whoever is out against them has to do a certain job. And I thought for the most part, whether it was X line, we had, or any other line that got caught out there against them, and particularly the D, I think everybody collectively did a pretty solid job in those situations.
Now I don't have a trained eye, but it seemed Marcus Johansson gave you a really good game at Seattle. I know he scored early, but, again, untrained eye guy here, but just watching him with the angles and things like that against Seattle, Johansson, what'd you think?
I thought Marcus played one of his better games for sure. One of the things with our team, I mean, his first goal was a big one for us. They scored that first shift, and you're on the road. The opposing fans are in it now. They have momentum, and we came back with some pretty good shifts after that. But that was a big goal from him and his line, and we need more of that. We need more from him in the production area. But I thought, as you said, his skating was a factor. That's a major part of his game. Is he's an elite skater, so when his skating is a factor in the game, and you notice him in those areas, he's certainly impactful for our team on both sides of the puck.
Hurricanes at XL Energy Center tomorrow night. John, anything different with the Carolina team compared to the one you beat in Raleigh about a month ago?
Well, they got Svechkov back, so he's a really good player for them. No, I mean, there's not a lot different from Carolina. I think that's what makes them, a really good, consistent winning team year in and year out. They have a lot of depth. They are a hard-working team that has some high-end skill. So it's going to be a fast-paced, competitive game. There's going to be a lot of pressure. We're going to have to pressure them to make sure that they're not getting easy looks. And, they're a high-pressure team against you. So you're going to have to be able to compete for space, fight for space, and be ready to play a real fast, competitive game for 60 minutes here tomorrow night.
That January day, Coach Hynes, that you beat them, Gus saved 40. And it seems you guys have really settled into a nice 1-2 with Buss and Fleury. I mean, given they're both healthy, how do you feel about that 1-2 at this stage of the equation?
I feel good. I mean, you have to down the stretch because of the condensed schedule after the All-Star break, where there's, we had 2 back-to-backs last week. We have, the back-to-backs coming up. We got a lot of games in a short amount of time. You need to have 2 goalies that can help you win. And it was nice that both guys played as well as they did versus Edmonton and Seattle, because we're going to need that. You need to get goaltending, basically around that 920 percentage area, night in and night out here down the stretch to really be able to make a real hard push to be able to get in, because we're going to be playing a lot of meaningful games. So it's nice to see them, both of them get some footing, play as well as they did, find ways to win games, and we're going to need it down the stretch here from both of them consistently.
Time for 2 more.
With John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, and Declan Chisholm. What did you guys like about Chisholm that led to that trade? I mean, his 5 games for you is more than he had played in his previous 2 seasons with the Jets, and he's given you good minutes.
He's given us great minutes. I think it was a great move by the management and scouting. As coaches, we didn't know a lot about him because there wasn't a lot of film on him. But I think when you go back to his track record, he's a young guy, young defenseman, hasn't had a great opportunity. He has had some real quality games in the American Hockey League, and then when he came in with us, what stands out is he's a good sized kid. He's got very good skating. He's a mobile defenseman. He's got good offensive instincts. He can move the puck. He can make plays under pressure. And he's really shown us, and he's done a nice job, too, running our second power play unit. He's got some good instincts in that area of the ice, too. So he just looks like a really good young player that needs some coaching and some continue to get to earn his opportunities to be able to play. And it looks like there's some good upside with him.
Lastly, John, and thanks for the time. After the victory at Seattle, after that game, you said your top line plays with, quote, hard skill, end quote. What does that mean?
Well, it goes back to a little bit what I've what I described earlier. I think when you look at the game will forever be will and hard work first, and then your skill comes out. And when you are working hard to get pucks back, when you have the puck, you make strong decisions and put yourself in situations where you can create offense. They're competitive in the hard areas of the game. When they don't have the puck, they're relentless, whether it's forechecking or back checking and reloading and putting pressure on the other team to turn pucks over. Those little elements, when you play with that conviction and that style of game, it allows you to be able to put yourself to get pucks back, to put yourself in situations where you can play versus an unorganized defense, or you can put pressure on the other team. And then when you're in those situations, now your skills comes out. Now you can make plays. You're in scoring areas. You might have 2-on-1s or 3-on-2s. You've tired the other team out in their defensive zone, so they start to fatigue a little bit. Now plays open up where you can really get high quality chances. And that's what we've really tried to stress to our team. But it's really, and I think our team in general has done a good job of that. But Ek, Kaprizov, and Boldy have done that at a high level, and they've done it very consistently.
Hey, man, I appreciate the time. Keep everybody healthy, and good luck against those Canes tomorrow night. Okay, John?
All right, thanks, Paul. Enjoy the good weather here today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Coach Hynes, John Hynes of the Minnesota Wild, 9 to noon. Well, he's JJ. So now it's Shooter. Now it's Charlie Walters of the Pioneer Press. I saw it. I saw it this morning, but I have not looked at the Twin Cities, whatever the website is. But now he's JJ. Now it's Charlie Walters, locally speaking, a columnist in Mortality, indicating something in the neighborhood of the Minnesota Vikings could be open. All right, 3-2. The Minnesota Vikings may be heading to the National Football League Combine in Indianapolis, which begins today, with the thought process that they could be making Justin Jefferson available for trade. I mean, how long, the con?
Yeah.
How long do you think we got to talk about this thing, man? I mean, it's what do you think?
I'm telling you, idle hands, PA.
Yeah.
In lieu of a physical domino falling to the surface of the table.
Yeah, they ain't trading. Okay.
It's going to be talked about until some sort of ink is dried upon a contract extension of some sort.
Well, they're wrong.
In the same vein that the Kirk talker is never going to die until the domino falls. The Daniil Hunter conversation won't stop until free agency opens up, and either there's something on the table with the Vikings or he heads elsewhere to Jacksonville, as you mentioned in weeks past. So the Justin Jefferson thing is as hot a talker that will never die.
But why? I mean, like, where'd it come from?
Well, I wouldn't say the why. I mean, I'm with you, and it's like we're getting to the point of exhaustion here.
I'm just asking, like, where did it come from?
Well,
I mean,
it's been a popular talker for 2 months now,
right? But I'm like, was there an origin?
Well, I don't think that there was a. He's potentially. I mean, it's just like anything else. It's rumors, we're tinkering with the draft. We're talking about Denver wanting to trade up in front. So kind of the concept is in without having other significant assets to play around with for a team that lacks depth at certain spots, for a team that lacks talent at other spots, a team that needs to get better.
Yeah, but there's a difference between the Vikings will make Justin Jefferson available, like as a report.
Correct.
Which I've seen several now, as opposed to, hey, Eric, what do you think about considering a Justin Jefferson trade if the Vikings don't bring back Kirk Cousins, because of holes to fill at A, B, C, D, and E?
A couple of first-round picks. What are you going to get for it? No, I understand the difference between but that's my point, is I have not seen somebody reporting live from sources. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah in Indianapolis this week is going to potentially offer Justin Jefferson as a trade piece.
Yeah, that's a zero.
I've seen none of that.
Yeah, and the obscure.coms that listen to this show and then take what I say and put it on your Twitter feed, I'm going to go ahead and give you something right now, 3-2 for what it's worth. The Minnesota Vikings have zero interest in trading Justin Jefferson. Why would they trade Justin Jefferson? And you can when it comes to thinking about a team or your favorite team and taking an asset that would be an asset that would in turn receive prized assets, it doesn't always have to begin with the best of the very best. You know what I mean? It's like Cousins set to be a free agent, plenty of speculation. Hunter set to be a free agent, plenty of speculation. Those are concrete facts that involve their professional lots in life. There is no concrete fact reported anywhere by anybody that would indicate the Minnesota Vikings have an inkling to trade Justin Jefferson. I mean, so this, it's
now. Did Charlie say that he's reporting it?
I'd have to read it more closely, but it was. I mean, this is a columnist, a local columnist who. Yeah, I'd have to read it more closely. I just saw something in passing on Twitter. I don't know if he did.
No, but
even if he did, I'm not going to take it as great.
To that end, I just haven't. So that's but that would be again the idle hands thing and empty minds, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've looked at all of this.
Yeah.
And the way that we go through these talkers and you want Kirk back. If he's not back, what happens here? And following those graduating lines and where things go from there.
Yeah.
It's been a blast talking about. But there's also not a lot of substance behind it. It's hollow in a lot of ways because of the unknown.
Right.
And, based on a track record, right? Like we don't have a track record that says, well, we do know how Kwesi's used developing prospects and when he doesn't pay those long contracts. We have nothing that we could even go on to even try to hint our way to the truth outside of what is concretely reported. And so in this case, a lot of people look into the draft. Yeah. I see it in the text line every single day.
Yeah.
Hey, what are your thoughts on Kirk to XYZ team for if you were able to get these picks? We're not going to get 4 or 5 first-round picks for Justin Jefferson, that sort of thing. So those arguments go back and forth, but nothing's concrete. But I have seen it. I've seen it thrown about, shooting from the hip for 2 months now.
Right.
But there's nothing behind it. That's real substance.
Right. When 9 to noon continues, speaking of football, off to the combine today, Blake Barretts is a locally based agent. He's the president and founder of Institute for Athletes, and he'll be joining us in studio around the corner to get into myriad topics, maybe including JJ, but probably not. And that's hour number 2 today